Now on Denver 7 News at 4, left without answers. The red tape around Social Security funds meant for her late brother kept a Boulder woman from giving him a proper goodbye. How Contact Denver 7 stepped in to help.
Hurricanes can cause more than just destruction. We're looking into how the aftermath can make people sick. And there's new technology making telekinesis possible, how one man with a spinal cord injury is using only his thoughts to drive a car.
Plus, Colorado law enforcement is addressing the state's fentanyl crisis, the steps they're taking to get the deadly drug off the streets.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Micah Smith. Contact Denver 7 is our promise to find solutions and hold the powerful accountable. So when a Boulder woman reached out to us about Social Security red tape after her brother died, our consumer investigator, Jacqueline Allen, went to work. Kathy Kramer says she always felt responsible for her younger brother, Richard Hockett. They toured together in several rock bands, and when he recently fell ill with cancer, she was his caregiver. When he died in April, he left $7,000 of his Social Security money in a Direct Express account to be used for his funeral expenses. But when Kathy tried to access the funds, it took more than a month to receive the paperwork, and she was told it would be at least another 6 weeks for approval.
Why did you reach out to Contact Denver 7?
Because I watch you all the time, and I know you've helped a lot of people. And I also wanted to make you aware that this was going on to help other people, not just me. I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to someone else.
Contact Denver 7 found news of widespread fraud complaints and other issues with Social Security's Direct Express cards. So we reached out, and immediately after, Kathy says she received a call that her check was in the mail. As the conversation on fentanyl continues, state troopers held a press conference today to say the fight against the opioid epidemic is far from over. This year, State Patrol has confiscated more than 200 pounds of illicit fentanyl that people were trying to smuggle into Colorado. And the State Health Department reported just under 1,200 opioid-related deaths across the state. 905 were fentanyl related. Tomorrow, Denver's mayor and Colorado's attorney general will begin a 2-day conference on fentanyl. The summit will have regional and statewide law enforcement discussing strategies to best fight the crisis. This meeting comes as a new report shows overdoses in adolescents continues to increase. Adolescent deaths from overdoses grew from 492 in 2019 to more than 1,100 in 2021. That's according to a recent study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. A Colorado family knows that pain all too well after losing their 15-year-old son. They're speaking first to Denver 7 CB Cotton.
Screen printing for t-shirts and candles have always been a creative outlet for this family, but they never thought heartbreak would one day fuel their handiwork.
He's a baby, and our family is pretty close, so, it's just devastating.
These t-shirts and candles are in memory of Josiah Velasquez. Velasquez died at 15 years old after spending a week on a ventilator. The high school freshman had taken a small blue pill back on May 14th in an Arvada Dairy Queen ice cream shop and immediately fell unconscious.
These pills, literally you take one and you have no idea what you're taking, and that's it. You don't get a second chance.
Josiah's pill was laced with fentanyl, according to his cousin Kelly and his brother Gabriel.
He definitely had a whole life ahead of him.
Gabriel says his brother, who loved family time and music, never used drugs. He believes bullying and peer pressure led to the situation.
I feel like he tried doing this to fit in, and that's one thing I want to get across to other people is don't feel that you have to try something just to fit in, because at the end of the day, you are who you are. And he was a very good person.
Now his family is hoping for accountability and answers. They say surveillance video of the incident showed Velasquez laying in the Dairy Queen for at least 5 minutes before help arrived.
He was just laying there without any assistance for so long, and could he have been saved?
Sadly, they'll never know, but they do know they can raise awareness. These shirts and candles all share a message about Josiah's story or the dangers of fentanyl-laced drugs.
I love him, and I know he's watching over us right now.
Anyone with information about Josiah Velasquez's death is asked to contact Arvada Police. The family is selling those shirts and candles to raise money for funeral expenses. They've also set up a GoFundMe, and we have that linked on thedenverchannel.com. In the newsroom, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
All right, thank you for that story, CB. Teens are turning to technology when it comes to purchasing drugs. As Denver 7 has shown you in the past, one way teens have been able to get drugs undetected is by using emojis and text messages with dealers. Each emoji and emoji combination represents a drug the teen is trying to purchase. This has led to the DEA releasing a new guide to help parents decode their child's emoji messages. You can find this guide right now on the DEA website as a part of its One Pill Can Kill campaign.
Damage and deaths continue to come in from Hurricane Agatha in Mexico. This is the first storm of the Pacific season to make landfall. More than 10 are confirmed dead. There are still others missing in southern Mexico. Overflowing rivers and landslides were the primary causes of death. Now, Agatha is the strongest storm to make landfall this early in the Pacific season as a Category 2. There is a chance that its remnants could redevelop, and if it becomes strong enough, it could turn into the first named storm of the Atlantic season, Alex. Now, with both hurricane seasons underway, we're looking into how the storms and their aftermath can make people sick. A recent study found an 11% increase in emergency room visits for things like vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal pain in the days and weeks after 2 hurricanes in North Carolina.
This effect was stronger among Native American and Black residents, as well as among older residents after Hurricane Florence. The racial differences that we observed are probably because of disparities in environmental exposures, income, healthcare access, and clean water access.
Researchers speculate that history is one reason for the disparity. Black residents of North Carolina were often pushed into flood-prone areas and as a result may be at a higher risk of illness after storms. It's particularly concerning as storms become more common and more powerful.
With climate change, we're seeing more frequent hurricanes and more intense hurricanes and more frequent heavy precipitation events.
Over the last 40 years, the world has seen an increase in storms that are Category 3 or stronger, according to a UN report. It falls on communities to be proactive in their efforts to protect people from the impact.
This can kind of highlight the importance of building newer sewer systems and more flood control systems, because that can reduce the spread of pathogens after hurricanes.
The White House has set aside almost $5 billion in funding for extreme weather preparation. Officials said that they plan to use the money to help build out infrastructure in disadvantaged communities. Now, internet has become a part of our everyday lives, but imagine not having it.
And the test, it would just load and load and load. Like, I hated seeing that circle. It was in my nightmares.
How a long shot request for help got rid of that never-ending cycle.
Also coming up, the real-life version of the Magic School Bus, the mobile preschool that's helping kids learn in one metro city.